Hello my dear friends, welcome to Inside Out Electronic channel. This is Uncle Mishan, and today we have another patient. And honestly, I don't even know if this patient is properly operational, but nevertheless, I think it's worth the money I pay for it because this is Nakamichi CR-3. Obviously, it's not a Dragon, it's not ZX9, but in our city, get this guy for a relatively low amount of money, a 3-head, a direct drive. Sorry, it's not direct drive. Double Capstan, not direct drive. 3-head Nakamichi cassette deck is a big deal. So I think it's a big deal, especially when it comes with functional remote. Well, I think it is functional because I didn't try it. Especially when it comes with cool Nakamichi poster and user manual, owner's manual. Yeah. So today, in this video, not today, maybe gonna take several days, I don't know. In this video, we're gonna take a look what is this beast, and then we're gonna together figure out if it's operational or not, if it needs some tuning, and if it needs some tuning, we're gonna perform the tuning. So, I purchased this Nakamichi together with some other audio equipment, so if you split amongst the different devices, that was actually not expensive at all, so that's hence I decided to go for as is. Who knows if it's operational cassette deck. But look like the face is actually not banged up, relatively clean. Top is dirty, but it is dirty, not damaged. A little bit some scuffs right here, but that's pretty much it. So eject is operational. And I'll show you a photo of the head. You will see, yeah, that's not the head, but actually tape compartment. So it definitely needs some work. Don't know if it powers up or not yet. We'll do this together. So what's cool about this particular one is that this cassette deck has pretty big range of the dBu meter. This is the LED dBu meter, and it's a pretty big range. So this is very nice. It does not support ferrochrome tapes. I think it has only 3 types. And that's pretty much it. It allows you to do bias font trim, but it does not have the calibration tone. Yeah, and obviously as typical cassette deck, it has a monitoring. So here we change the equalization, here we change the different types, type 1, type 2, type 4. And this is the two equalization levels. Here is bias fine tuning. Other things like counter reset and memory stuff, not that of a big deal. We have rack mute and we have also B and C noise reduction. Here is output level and here is record level. That's pretty much it. What's cool about this particular guys, this series cassette decks, they have Sankyo type Mac, so which is make them pretty serviceable. And many different cassette decks have the same parts, so they are quite interchangeable. So technically, fixing this tape Mac would not be a big deal. That's pretty much it. Let's take a look what we have on the back side. On the back side, we have pretty straightforward input and output RCA jack, wired remote or system remote. I honestly don't know. I do have the remote, and we have voltage selector, which is actually pretty cool because this thing can work in different voltages: 220, 240, 127, and 110. Very nice. It's set right now to 110 volts, apparently. There is nothing else different. It is, what does it say what year it is manufactured? It does not. I don't see. Yeah, but nevertheless. So what we have to do right now, we just try to power it up and see what's going on with it. Alright, so we have connected it to the power outlet, and let's see. That's it. Okay, so beyond any further investigation, without doing any further investigation, I don't think I'm gonna go any further because I definitely must tell you that here a head compartment is pretty dirty. So I'm gonna get to it. We're gonna together actually open it and take a look what's going on inside. Is it any bad capacitors or anything like that before we continue? Then I'm gonna get to the gonna get to the tape mechanism, clean it up, and see what's missing and how, if it works properly or not. What's the condition of the head? What is the condition of the rubber, belts, pinch rollers, and things like that. And then we go from there. Maybe in order to proceed, you would have to order some parts like belts, pinch rollers, idlers, and yada yada. Potentially, there is a chance, and this guy has actually not a rubber idler, but actually gear mechanism. There is a chance, because this is newer sort of deck in comparison to BX300, for example. So there is a possibility that may have a geared mechanism. So that will be easier and harder in the same time. If this thing breaks, yeah, good luck. But the rubber, it's much easier to repair. Anyways, let's proceed to tear down. So we are back on the bench. So after we look at the front and back of this Nakamichi CR-3, I wish it was CR4, CR-3, let's take a look what's inside. So let's put this manual and the remote like right here. Hope it's not gonna be interfering. Alright. I don't know what this thing is about. So it looks like someone put some kind of bumper here, and that's only here, so it's weird. I'm gonna unglue it later, but clearly this is not supposed to be here. This is some remains from the past. So to open up this cassette deck, we need to unscrew 2 on each side and 3, I think, screws on the back. Yes, so I'll do it off camera. Well, I think I was wrong. It's only 1 here. 2, right? These guys, they are not related to the lead. So, moment of, oh wow, it's super dusty inside, of truth, and here we are. This is the first time ever I'm looking inside one of these guys. Oh yeah, a little bit dusty inside, but certainly not as bad as I thought it's gonna be. So looks everything a little bit kind of intertwined here, but what's positive, that I see many connectors, like not many things directly soldered. For example, let me find heads. I'm curious how heads are connected. Yeah, so heads, like I think. No, these are not heads. These are headphones. Where head go? I have no idea, honestly. Okay, here we are. Still, so these blue ones, it looks like these are heads, and they go straight into connectors right here, which is good. So obviously all those switches you need to clean up. Actually, kind of interesting. I see that this cassette deck is a little bit simpler than Harman Kardon CD491, and even simpler than CD401. Yeah, looks like it is Sony Dolby chips. They are either one like a stereo, so you don't need to have 2 of them for each channel, because they look how many pins they have, and that's how we have only 2, not 4 like in other cassette decks. Also, very notable, the amount of Nichicon Muse capacitors. I think these are, unless someone was here already, I'm not sure if those are supposed to be here, but they are actually soldered willy-nilly, so I assume this is from the factory. Look at this here, it's just yeah, I don't see any obvious problem, any obvious capacitor leak, which is actually good. What's cool about here as well, that this power supply, which uses some kind of Tycon capacitors, shit, probably those have to go, is soldered, is screwed right in here. So it'd be nice to actually, like if I need to kind of work on it, I can just, pull it out and that's it, and have to like yank everything like in other cassette decks, which is cool. Typically the same problem, all high voltage stuff is not covered in any way, so you have to be careful. Right, so how our belt is doing, let me get closer look to. Looks like belt is not disintegrated, it's still in there intact. Yep. And what we have, I think I was right about gear. I think I see through this little hole right here that this motor has 2 gear box. Yeah, so this is essentially a real motor, and having the 2s, unless the T's are broken there or one of the gears is broken, it's actually better, because technically if everything goes well, this thing it don't have to be maintained, so it's just working. So here is the main motor, here's the real motor, and here is the utility or switch or mode motor. Okay, so this is 3 motor. This device is double capstan but not direct drive. So this motor drives 2 capstan flywheels through the belt system. In other cassette decks, for example like BX300 or Harman Kardon CD491, there is a special motor which actually sits right here and drive one of the capstan flywheels or capstans straight out of its shaft. So yeah, it's a big difference. I like how this capacitor essentially used to, yeah. Anyways, so we have a whole bunch of good capacitor. Here is, no, fuck that, sorry. Jimmy Con? Jimmy, like this is kind of, it's bizarre. So here we have a mixture of Jimmy Con, Tycon, maybe Tycon is okay, I don't know. Jimmy Con, Tycon, what are those? It's not Elna. What are those orange ones? I don't think these are Nichicon. So there is a, well, mind you, this is a control circuit, so not of that of a big deal. It don't have to be like some fancy capacitors, but yeah, it's all over the shop. So here's another, the Jimmy Cons. I don't know what the heck is that. SK, what a... Jimmy Con, another Jimmy Con. So Jimmy Cons SKs. So these black ones are Jimmy Cons. These shiny black ones. The not shiny black one, like matte black ones, are Nichicons. Sorry, not Nichicon, Nippon Chemicons. Yay, as I'm telling you, this is like a mixture of all capacitors. What are, and here, over here, this is highly likely a record amplifier. Yeah, and here is something going to probably the record head, because no, this is playback amplifier, this is record amplifier, I assume. Yeah, okay, we have to, yeah, so one of them is made on a op amp, another is just discrete transistors, so we have to figure out which one. Probably this record, this is playback. Anyways, so here we have a whole bunch of these Jimmy Cons. So I have to double check what are those Jimmy Cons, otherwise I would have to replace them for something proper. Yeah, a lot of these Jimmy Cons here, and the power supply has a whole bunch of different kind of capacitors as well. The Tycon, one of them, it's probably the biggest one here. Again, I don't see a whole bunch of these Jimmy Cons, and there are blue ones which I don't know what are they. Yeah, so yeah, I have to unscrew this board probably using those 2 screws, and just to double check what are. I'm actually gonna do this right now. Oops, it's a bit other things in a way. It's actually great that heatsink is connected to the chassis, because first of all, well, it's clearly it makes it to be grounded, but also, okay, this is Nippon Chemicon, which is obviously good. We have actually op amp right here, very interesting. I don't know why it is here. Oh, here it is, barely see visible. What are these blue ones? I don't really... Okay, that's Nippon Chemicons as well. So yeah, so these are Nippon Chemicons. 25 volt Tycons. I don't know, man. It seems to be okay. I mean, nothing, unless they are overheated because of the heatsink and kind of damaged. Maybe it's okay. But these Jimmicons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's just Jimmicon SK. Only 2 transistors are on heatsink, 2 bridge rectifiers I see, and 2 more transistors or whatever they are. Yeah, it's really hard to tell. Yeah, it looks like the Q404 and Q something. And ZD. Oh, it's like a Zener or something. This is another one. Anyways, so nothing special. I can't read this little orange capacitors right here. I can't freaking read what it says. It says Frenzik. So what? Anyways, 1 microfarad 50 volts. Yeah, we will see what the heck is that. 1 microfarad 50 volts. But so far, so good. We're gonna put this all back. So power supply goes back. I think it's more or less okay. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna order some, maybe put some 10,000 microfarads, proper caps, low ESR, low ripple current, high temperature like 105 and not 85, C capacitors. Because 6500 to 10,000 microfarad, it's not that a big difference, so yeah, I'm gonna order some 10,000s for other. Cassette deck, hello. Okay, that's secure. So let's take a look what's going on with the Mac itself. Yeah, I'll show you something. This is amazing. It's a leaf. Okay, so inside here is pretty dirty. Yeah. So, oh my god, this is lots of some kind of hair and lots of dust. Oh yeah, oh that's easy. Oh, that's actually pretty heavy, by the way. It's just a hunk of glass, I guess, there, that's why. So now we can see a little bit better, and yes, we see a lot of hair everywhere. So everything like this crop has to be cleaned up. Okay. Heads are pretty dusty. Everything essentially is quite a bit dusty. Yeah, look at this. So I hope, yeah. So essentially, I don't even know what's the best way of doing it. Just go and blow it up with air, or no, probably. Otherwise, that dust gonna be everywhere. Yeah, so I'm definitely going to be cleaning everything inside, heads, capstans, and pinch rollers, and everything else. I don't even know what to do with this wonderful calibration mechanism, right? So all the, so this is discrete heads, and like there is 2 azimuth alignment, and you can do, you know, vertical and azimuth and other things. This is amazing that they invented this kind of a mechanism. So it's allow you to do quite a bit of different changes. Yeah, so yeah, all this stuff is super dusty. So the first thing I'm probably gonna be doing is cleaning up that. Otherwise, I just cannot proceed. Yeah, cannot proceed to understand if this thing is properly working or not. I'm kind of wondering, what are those 2 terminals right here? So there are 2 connectors which are not populated. Interesting. There's a whole bunch of pots, trim pots, which actually, you know, good to have. By the way, another interesting thing, that this particular cassette deck does not have the orange capacitors, which are notoriously bad. And for example, another cassette, Nakamichi cassette decks, they have to be definitely replaced. So also I'm gonna be poking around those capacitors, you know, just to replace capacitors for proper capacitors. So I have my ESR meter, which I can actually, giving the chance that power supply just nicely mooning us, we can just measure some ESR. I think it's gonna be good. So let's take this big ass capacitor. Look at this ESR, just nothing wrong with it, obviously. Let's take a look at this, super big. Those two capacitors are in parallel. Yeah, I mean, it's almost unreadable ESR. What else I can reach here? Okay, let's check this capacitor. No problem whatsoever. And I think this is the capacitor as well. Yeah. Let's check this little. Let's grab one of those Gemicon capacitors. Okay, that's measuring some Gemicons, and it's not measuring properly. Let's try one more time. It really depends. So 3.1 ESR is. Okay, let's grab another one of those just to. It's not handy. Okay, let's take this one. It looks like it's the same kind. Well, that's quite a bit of a difference, right? Well, obviously now we have to check the value of this capacitor. Because if for example it's like 1 microfarad, 50 volts, which I don't really see. Yes, it is. It's 1 microfarad, 50 volts. So that's sort of okay. But the other guy who measured the, like, it's really hard to see, which measured such a low ESR. It's probably different value. What's all together? Okay, let's. Also another thing, if like poking capacitors like this, like curving them, like blending them one way or another, it's not a good idea. So ideally you have to nicely install the capacitors in such a way that their leads are not deforming. Otherwise it can potentially, like there is a small probability, but it still can lead to capacitor failure because of the broken seal. Okay, let's measure this capacitor. 0.7. What do we have? 47 microfarad, 25 volt. This is good, right? Yeah. So yeah, well, I'm gonna go. How about this guy? Doesn't measure at all. What's going on here? 182. That's okay. 0.33 microfarad. Yeah, those are very low values. What are they? Here is 0.47 microfarad, 50 volts. So these are candidates which can be replaced by a bipolar, not polarized, by bipolar capacitors like Vima MKT or MK, I forgot the name of the MKP or something like that, providing you find the right size of them, because I mean, don't have to be electrolytic here. What is this guy? 80. Okay. That's really hard. Yeah, so they are okay. So this is measures fine. Maybe I'm gonna touch them. If capacitor is not on the audio path, I'm not gonna be touching it. How about this beefy guy? Another Gemicon. Looks like some kind of bodge capacitor probably some filtering because it's a 300. Yeah, that's good. Anyways, capacitors, so far so good. I don't see the bad capacitors, and I think most of the mission critical capacitors here and some here are replaced with audio grade caps ones, and I do have actually a bunch of them, so I can just, you know, replace all those Gemicons by these Nichicon Muse. I have actually a bunch of them. Okay, so on this note, I'm gonna try to clean up here and there. I'm probably gonna do a cleanup of all this tape mechanism off camera. I don't think there is anything to see here. Yeah, I want to just make sure all this nice and clean before I actually put any cassette in there, and all, you know, pinch rollers are clean and things like that. Then we go from there. If it starts doing some finicky things, I'll try to double check if pinch rollers are fine and if belts are fine and things like that. But so far I need to just clean up all this tape inside the tape well, just to make sure it's all clean before I put any tapes in it. For that I'm going to be using obviously going to be using an alcohol I have and some Q-tips. So I'll proceed off camera. Alright my friends, so I have done some cleaning and removed a whole bunch of leaves out of the inside of the deck, and here we are. So I've already powered it, and we have and funny thing, it doesn't even need the cassette actually, it just goes. So yeah, it's interesting. So we're gonna put my favorite tape, Kara Visokak. I hope this deck is gonna be properly operational in this sort of environment. Okay, and let's do it. Oh yeah, sorry, headphones. Please. Equalization changes, you can hear the tone changes. Yeah, level is working. I don't know, seems like there is nothing really to do here, it just works. Obviously, mechanically, I mean. And capacitors, you know, not gonna touch now. So what are you gonna do out of the box? I'm gonna try to tune it up using the azimuth cassette, the level cassette, the speed, and download the service manual. Download the service manual and double check all necessary calibration things, steps, and yeah, this is gonna be it. So essentially, except cleaning, we don't have to do anything. Obviously, actually, I forgot the main thing. This whole thing needs to be washed and cleaned, because looks like it has some gunk on it. The top is actually pretty dirty. That has to be done. But as far as a mechanical condition, I think it's pretty good. Yeah. So next step for us gonna be to calibrate that thing, and calibration gonna be done in part 2. So thank you guys for watching, see you next time. I'm pretty happy, and I think this is success, the good find. I think this deck is really neat, especially this azimuth stuff. And in part 2 we're gonna calibrate speed, azimuth, levels, and things like that. They're gonna show you how to do that, so stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you like my videos, please like, comment, and see you next time. Stay safe and ciao.